Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to our weekly lunch chat. Hope you're all doing well and getting in a lot of good knitting and crocheting. I have more on my plate than I can keep up with at this point, but it's good. It's good to have a lot of projects going. I feel best when I have a lot of projects going. If I have too few projects, then I kind of have a hard time choosing what to work on, and it just doesn't seem to excite me. But if I have, like 45 projects to choose from, then, that's something to get excited about. Anyways, I know sometimes I'm in excess on the project front, so don't be comparing yourself to 45 projects. Oh, it's Friday again. I'm still getting myself turned around after working through the last week. I just can't seem to keep on top of what day of the week it is. But Friday, here we are, headed into one of the best knitting weekends of the year. I'm sure you all know what I mean by that, right? Super Bowl. You either watch it and get to knit through it, or you don't care about it and you get to knit anyways, whatever you would normally do on a Sunday afternoon. But personally, that's what I'm there for. I'm all about the commercials and the knitting. And I do enjoy football. I just, we live in Oregon, and it's really hard to have your teeth in the game when you don't have a professional team in your area. I know a lot of Oregonians are Seahawks fans, and it's fun to root for the Seahawks, but it's just not quite the same as having, the team you get really crazy about. So, Super Bowl. It's usually just an excuse to eat and drink in excess, and so I'm hoping if I keep my hands on my knitting needles that will limit some of those things. You may notice that I'm wearing something special today. I finished my Boathouse. I love this sweater so much. You can't even imagine. So, give you a little better view. Here she is. I did a little sleeve detail with the small buoy pattern and then the stripes that were called for in Marie's pattern. This just absolutely fit exactly like I had hoped when I swatched and chose size and gauge. So just as a recap, with the Boathouse, which was the Olive Knits January knit along, January-February knit along, she gave you 3 gauge options to choose from and then broke down what the finished bust size would be if you choose different gauges than the main gauge. And so I actually went with a slightly smaller gauge of 5.5 stitches to the inch, which is 22 stitches over 4 inches. And then I chose my size accordingly, given her her breakdown of sizes. So I was shooting for a 43. It's exactly what I got, was a 43. It fits absolutely perfect. Hi, Sarah! Thank you so much. My background color, so my yarn is Felted Tweed by Rowan. It just knit beautifully at 5.5 stitches to the inch. And it comes in so many colors, it just seemed like the natural choice to do this pattern. And we had a lot of knitters here in the shop choose to use the felted tweed. So we have a lot of beautiful boathouses coming along. And Sarah Mulholland is using felted tweed as well. And she asked what my background color was. So my background color is Alabaster, which kind of probably for you guys looks pretty heathery gray, but it's actually a very light blue, and the tweed bits in it are kind of a more brighter royal blue, and so it goes well with these colors that I've chosen up here for hello Marlene, for my buoys in the colorwork section. So I just love it. Blue for me is really outside of my wheelhouse, so Jill was so surprised when she saw the colors that I had picked for this, because I just normally am not much of a blue person. There's a funny story. My friend Nicole, this was way back when the shop was only a year or 2 old, and she's very much a blue person, like way, way blue. In fact, when she was designing actively, her pattern company was called Blue Girl Knits. And we didn't know each other that well at this point, and she walked in one day and she had kind of walked around shopping looking for some yarn, and then she walked up to the counter and she said, "Hi, you have a blue problem." And I was like, "Excuse me?" She was totally right. So I completely had a blue deficit. Like, I just don't see blue as well. And so now that I'm more aware of that, it's better when I'm ordering. Like, I always know, double check that you've covered the blue range. And in that instance, we pulled out one of my basic wools that I carried, and it came in 200 colors, and I had 2 blues, maybe like light blue and navy blue or something. And she was like, "There's this blue, there's aqua, there's turquoise, there's," and I was like, oh. So it's really unusual for me to choose a blue palette or a cool palette like this, but I did the alabaster, and then there's some light and dark teal, light and dark purples, and then medium and dark blue here. So I really, really had fun doing this. I checked my Ravelry when I finished it, and I did this in 21 days, start to finish, and that included about 6 days in the middle where I didn't knit anything at all because it was the sale and inventory, and I was just working solid and too wiped out to knit. So it was great. Thank you, Sarah. I just couldn't resist putting just a little bit more color work here. So I did a little row of the small buoy pattern before I moved into the stripes. When I get close, it like gets too bright. So hopefully you can see that. So now for the striptease portion of today's lunch chat, I'm going to take it off. Bear with me. And I'm going to put my other cardigan on because I'm pulling a Mr. Rogers, you guys. Here she changes her sweater. But I wanted to show you the inside because I love, love, love doing color work. Hi, Rennie. Thank you so much. It's so great to hear from you. Hope you ladies are doing well over there to the east. Okay, so I just love color work, which is why we're going to go right into another color work knit along. More on that in just a minute. But here are my floats that I'm so proud of. So I hold, I use 2 hands with my color work like a lot of people do. So I keep one yarn on the left and one on the right. And it really helps keep it all nice and clean and tidy on the back end. Even if you have to catch a float here and there for a long stretch, it stays really clean and those yarns never get crisscrossed. And so it also makes it just go so fast. And I know some of you might be resistant to that idea, but it is... ultimately, if you can just like break through that resistance and do a practice project where you get past that initial discomfort of learning to knit with your non-dominant hand or the hand you're not used to. Hi, Jen. Thank you so much. It will behoove you in the long run. I guarantee it. It will also make your knitting go faster when you're using 2 colors. So if you've been harboring some resistance to trying that method out, just pick something basic, cast on in the round, 2 colors, and practice doing the 2-handed technique, working the kinks out in the hand that is not your typical hand, and it will come faster than you think, I promise. And then you can move on to just always using that method, and it really has a lot of benefits. So anyways, that was the Boathouse, and well done, Marie. That was a beautifully written pattern, beautifully sized pattern, all of the shaping, etc. just fits to a T. Absolutely fits to a T. So, I have to say one other thing about felted tweed. When I went to block that, I'm used to my sweaters growing a bit under the weight of being 100% wet, right? So I fully wet block in the sink. That's my preferred method. And then, I gently squeeze out the extra water. I lay it on a towel, roll the towel, stand on it, get the excess out. Jill spins hers out in the machine on the spin setting, and I have yet to be brave enough to try that, but she's convinced me I'm going to give it a try. So I roll it out, and then usually I expect I'm going to have to smooth some things back into shape. So my sleeves, they're wet. They're a long, narrow tube. It's natural that they might grow. So, you smooth those back into their length. The length maybe has to come back because it was wet and it dragged or whatever. I popped that Boathouse out of the wet towel. I kind of gave it a roll and let it flop down onto my blocking mats. Went and set the towel down, came back, basically opened up the parts that were folded when it fell. It was 100% the exact same measurements that it was before I blocked it. And I had measured it because I wanted it to be exactly the same. I liked the length, I liked everything about it. Nothing changed. The length was exactly the same. The bust was exactly the same. And the sleeves were exactly the same. I could not believe that this yarn, fully wet, hadn't distorted, stretched anything once I had soaked it. It was mind-boggling. I basically did a quick zoop, zoop, zoop with my tape measure. They were all the same, and I just smoothed a couple spots that were a little wrinkled and let it try. Yay for non-superwash. I love superwash. It has its place, but it's going to grow when you get it wet. 100% it's going to grow. So that was a pleasant surprise. So if you haven't worked with the felted tweed before, I highly recommend it. Maybe this is a good segue to talk about our next knit along. We just recently got felted tweed back in at the shop. We carried it 7-8 years ago for a few years, and we're just so small we have to cycle through stuff because, you know, I get tired of looking at it. I know my customers get tired of looking at it, especially once everyone's used it. So it's such a good one. It's coming back, and we're going to move right on into the Lydia scarf knit along, and that is spelled differently than you might expect if you're going to look it up. It's spelled Lidiya, and it's a pattern by Kay Fast. It's been out for a long time, and I think maybe 2013, 2016, something like that. It's a colorwork scarf using 11 colors of felted tweed. 11. But it's so great if you have DK weight leftovers from your Boathouse. So if you had to buy 6-7 colors, excuse me, I'm like irritated by my hair, for your Boathouse, you will have the perfect application for those leftovers in this pattern. And it is in a tube, so no wrong sides. You don't have to worry about purling in 2 colors. And you don't even have to weave your ends in because you can do the Shetland tradition and knot them together on the wrong side. It's in a tube no one will ever see. So that's something else we're going to be talking about in the knit along. And it's just a very straightforward pattern. And technically the pattern, if you go and you buy this pattern on Ravelry, it does use 3 colors in a row. It's the center row, has a little dot in each flower motif, a little dot of the 3rd color. We're going to be not using the 3rd color. We're just going to be continuing with the background and the motif color. So don't be scared or put off by the idea of 3 colors in a row. They're totally optional to do that. And so I got started on that, and I'm going to show you guys. Here it is. So I took my 7 colors from 7 colors from my Boathouse, rounded it out with 4 additional colors that I thought would fit into the motif, and here it is in progress. Isn't that fun? So much fun. So you can see the motifs are small. It's a 5-row with your background color, a larger flower and a little smaller flower, and then you move on and you keep, and they kind of move around. They stagger a bit. It's got a little seed stitch border that you seam together at the bottom when you're all done so that you close the tube up. And so, yeah, it's going to be so much fun. My marker just fell off. And this could be a great application also for practicing that 2-color technique because you just have so many very repetitive motifs to do that you can focus on other stuff because the pattern is very easily memorizable. So think about joining us for that. More information comes out in our newsletter. If you're not already subscribed to our newsletter, just head to our website, and on the About Us or the Resources tab, you can subscribe, and then you would get all the info for participating in that. People who are participating in that are going to get this chart from me, this worksheet basically, to help them along with the pattern. I'll give you a quick glance so that no one accuses me of sharing copyrighted information. This is how it looks when you buy the download. Isn't that nuts? The squares are like this big, tiny, 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 and with 11 symbols in it. It's extremely difficult to read. So I'm retooling that, blowing up the motif, making it easier to see and read. It'll have a place where you fill in what colors you've chosen. You could even color it with some colored pencils if you wanted to even more visually see your colors together. And it's going to have, you know, some helpful things on it. So if you decide you want to participate and you're someone that is not a local in-store customer, you can just message me on any of our social media or email me, and I can send you a copy of my worksheet to help you with that. So let's see. Sarah asks, how do you think it would work with one background color throughout the scarf? I think it would work fine. You would definitely have a very different looking scarf. It would look like a floral motif scarf more instead of seeing the stripes, and I think that would be totally fine. So if you just wanted to use one background color and alternate all of the florals as you go, that would be great. It would just look like spotted florals all over, and I think it would be super fun. Certainly would eliminate the number of ends to deal with. Oh, I didn't show you the inside where I had knotted. I'll show you guys next time what it looks like on the inside where you knot together your colors as you change them. So Sarah, I think that would work just fine. That would be great. Thank you, Marlene. Marlene says she loves the colors. Yeah, it's so fun. And you know, you don't get tired of it when you're like, oh, time to change. Every 5 rows, like, oh, look, I get to pull in another one. It helps. It helps kind of like maintain the momentum as you're going. So I didn't want to put it down last night. Went to go to bed. Other stuff. Let's see. How many of you guys are working on the Rose City Yarn Crawl Mystery Knit Along or the Mystery Crochet Along? I am. So I'm in my Clue 2 right now. But I haven't got to the stockinette portion. So, hey, if you do not want a spoiler for Clue 2, or Clue 1 for that matter, this is the time to just briefly turn away, because I'm going to show it. So there's Clue 1, and up through there, and then here's my Clue 2 right here. So, really fun mosaic. Really fun. Mosaic's so fun because it has stunning results with very little effort. It's just like striping, and then you are slipping some stitches. So really looks cool, but it's not too color work. So yeah, having fun with that. That's yarn that I picked up at Pearl Fiber Arts with from Cindy Abernathy over there in the Pearl District. So yay for the Rose City Yarn Crawl. I don't know if any of you saw the announcement on our website Wednesday, but we had some surprising fun news. We're actually going to be bringing Tosh back into the store. So if you've known us or you know me or the store for very long, you know that we don't have Tosh right now, and we've had it off and on throughout the years. We were some of the first people to have Tosh, and that's because I have an amazing sales rep for it. But it was very frustrating to work with them and really hard to get what you wanted in a timely manner. And, you know, a lot of shops dropped Tosh, and, you know, there was a lot of other indie dyers that came on the market. And so that was fine. There was a lot of things, but you can't deny that they don't make beautiful, beautiful yarn. And so, you know, I dropped it because it was too much of a headache to have to try to work with, but never did I not think the yarn was amazing. So they recently were purchased by Jimmy Bean's Wool. You might have heard that near the end of last year, so right before the holidays. And Laura Zander at Jimmy Bean's is a dynamo in our industry. And so yes, Jimmy Bean's is a shop, and they are an online retailer. But she started as a small yarn shop, and she's just really savvy. And she's got I think is married to somebody who does web design, and so they're able to work together, or they were from the very get-go able to work together and make a brand out of Jimmy Bean's. I mean, an actual big national brand. And so she has bought a few companies in the last year. She's got Namaste bags and Delicue bags, and so she's kind of branching into the wholesale side of things a bit. And so that was interesting news for sure. But it was what happened after they bought, the announcement was made, that's kind of, you know, got me thinking, okay, maybe I could give this another chance. And that is just that their communication and organization just immediately from the get-go, from the moment they took over, was a complete 100% improvement. We were getting weekly emails as retailers about the status of things, what the priority is in the dye house, which bases are available currently, which bases will be arriving in the next few weeks, what the lead time is. I mean, just absolute, totally, 100% turnaround on how it used to be. And so that's been impressive. I've been reading the emails and just kind of like, you know, benchmarking that back here in the brain. So my sales rep came to see me, Sandy Blue, hi Sandy, on Wednesday, and she kind of said, you know, what do you think? Do you think you would maybe want to try Tosh again? And I was like, oh, you know, I've actually been thinking about it. So it's happening. So we did a quick little review of everything. It's just, you know, and I was reminded, I was looking through, it's like a trip down memory lane to look at the colors. It's massive, this color ring that she's got. And remember the colors I've used in projects and the colors that were favorites in the store. And there's a lot of new ones I haven't seen in many years because I haven't been carrying it. And so watch for that to come. We'll be putting an order in hopefully today, and maybe in the next 6 to 8 weeks, we will have some fresh Tosh on our shelves. That's a mouthful. Fresh Tosh on our shelves. So that's exciting, and I think it's going to be a really good new venture to figure out. Ingrid, hello! Ingrid's down in Mexico, living it up and watching some amazing musicians at a music festival in Cancun. Don't you all just want to be at a music festival in Cancun right now? Oh, anyways, let's see what else. else did we talk about? Lots of our new spring summer yarns have rolled in, so I'm very excited about that. There is several from Barocco, including 100% silk, an alpaca linen blend that's very unique, a cotton silk blend that feels like the most buttery yarn you would ever get your hands on. It feels like cashmere, actually. It feels like cashmere. And then another cotton and this really cool funky linen blend. Oh, I can show you that one. I'm not gonna cast on. I'm gonna start a new project. You'll never believe what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to crochet a shop sample. Okay, this is it right here. Sorry for the black and white. Can you see that well enough? Get the texture. There we go. So this is a little Barocco summer top in one of the new yarns we just got in called Liana. And look at the color on that. Isn't that beautiful? It's like shimmery and matte at the same time. Beautiful multicolor. And it's linen. Here's the strand. It's a linen blend. And I think it's going to be perfect to try to crochet this top. I keep saying try. I crochet, but following a pattern is challenging. You know, making things be accurate with like stitch counts and sizes and stuff like that. This will be a good stretch for my brain. Let's put it that way. I don't know how many of you have crocheted garments. You know, it seems like most knitters have probably dabbled just a tiny bit in crochet. So, and I've designed a couple crochet accessories for our patterns for the slow yarn crawl, but a garment, I have done one. It was probably about 10 years ago, and it did come out like how it was supposed to. So I can do it. I know I can do it. It's just going to take a lot more brain power than I'm maybe used to with just any old knitting project, but I'm going to do it. Another shop sample in new yarns. This is in the Barocco summer silk. That's the one I was talking about. That is cotton and silk blend that just feels like butter. I think it feels like cashmere. I think you could do a blind feel test and definitely confuse some people about which one's the cashmere. So again, sorry for the black and white photos, but this is what I'm gonna do. It's called Elemental Raglan. And it's a cute open summer top. It's got like a high-low hem. And so I think it'll go really fast because this is like a DK yarn, and I'm going to use a size 9 needle. And this is the color I'm going to use. It's kind of a charcoal gray. This stuff is so amazing. So that's why I'm really excited about the Super Bowl, because I just need to work on some stuff and get it done or started or whatever. My challenge is calling. So yesterday was Throwback Thursday, and I brought a project that I really need to finish. It's a shop sample in the Farmer's Daughter Mighty Mo. And it's like a size 10 needle with mohair, and there's no reason. It's like a bunch of rectangles that I'm going to piece together into a big cardigan. And so it couldn't be more basic, and I just cannot bring myself to work on it because I think it's basic. And I pulled it out for Throwback Thursday thinking I would force myself to get a few inches done. And then I was so busy yesterday. Literally all I did was take a picture. You might have seen it. I posted it on Facebook. I'm like, oh, look what I'm doing for Throwback Thursday. Yeah, I didn't do anything. I didn't even make a stitch. And guess what? I just took it home and then I set it back down. Confessions of a delinquent knitter, right? Because I just want to start these new projects or work on my sample for the knit along, the Lydia knit along. Oh, you guys, I need to get my mojo on those oldies but goodies. It's going to be stunning when it's done. It's in the most beautiful color of Mighty Mo. It's called Sunday Mimosa, and it's just like this glowing gold orange, and especially on gray, rainy days. Yeah, Jill says at least you got it out. You're right. I put my hands on it, right? Does that count? So today is the last day to get me your goal if you want to join us for the KAH 2020 Ravelry Challenge. I think we are up to like 57 people who have officially sent me their goals. It's so exciting. And we have a Facebook group where we're all sharing our progress and our newly completed projects and keeping each other motivated. So it's not too late. If you still want to get in on that, all I need from you is whatever goal you would like to set for yourself in the challenge page of your Ravelry projects. If you don't know about that, we've got a video in the group. So go to KAH Ravelry Challenge 2020 in Facebook. It's a group you can ask to join. And you can set your goal, send it to me, and you'll get in our official list. So what happens if you're in that list is that we'll periodically send out an email of encouragement, and we will do prize drawings for people as we go along. People who are killing it, people who are bombing it, everyone's eligible at some point for a prize. So don't worry if you set a goal and then you don't make it. It's not a competition. It is strictly for fun. So today's the last day to get that info to me to be officially included in the hoopla with the Ravelry Challenge. So I think my challenge goal was 55 projects, and I have finished 5. So I'm like at 9% now of my goals, because I finished Boathouse and three Afghan squares and then something else. So I feel pretty good about that. I just got to keep plugging along. So I hope you all have a really great weekend, and that it's relaxing and full of knitting and crochet or whatever else you might want to be doing with your time, and that it's not stressful or full of dishes and laundry. Those other banes of our existence that sometimes keep us from knitting, or house cleaning or book work or work. Oof. Just kidding. Work is necessary. Anyways, thanks for tuning in today, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.